I don't even know what adjective to use, honestly. This was an episode. This was indeed an episode of Doctor Who.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Timey-Wimey Talk.
Welcome back. Oh my god, it's so good to see you guys.
It is so good to see you guys back.
Yes.
It's Alyssa.
And Tyara. But that's Tyara and I'm Alyssa.
Yeah.
We do that.
Be us.
We do that.
That do
we
be
just
us.
forget that we're different people sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Because
we're
when
so
you
in
have
sync.
similar thoughts.
Yes.
And it's just like, yeah, it just happens.
It's just hard to tell the difference between us. I know. We look like sisters.
Yeah.
So.
We did our hair the same.
Did we?
Just so that you couldn't tell us apart.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, we just watched, what was it called? Revolution of the Daleks. We gave Jodie Whittaker.
We gave her a chance.
We gave the 13th Doctor a chance because we thought it was unfair that we were only reviewing our favorite Doctors, and I haven't watched much of Jodie's seasons. Tiara's watched more than me, but what was funny was we were watching this episode and we were both like, I think I've seen this episode before. But I
actually did see this episode before.
I know.
So that's where it came from for me.
I'm pretty sure I watched it too. And the only thing I can think of is that because Jack was in it, and that's why I would click on it and watch it. But no, I think the reason I felt that it was really familiar to me was because it was the same as some other ideas that have been shown in the past. Hot take.
Copying from the best of the best.
It reminded me a lot of Christopher Eccleston's episode Dalek, even with the rich American villain.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also the villain, I don't know how you felt about what's his name? Mr. Robertson. It reminded me of the American villain in Dalek. But it was also it felt kind of like he was like a caricature. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was so very character
he wasn't really
villain
a
where it's it was very almost like Disney where it's like,
I'm evil villain and
I'm so evil.
And
he's like, you are my minions.
Yeah.
And then he runs away
No, exactly. He's so quick to sell out the entire human race. It was
very cartoony.
I get it. He's the big bad, and I don't know a lot of gazillionaires in my life, but I just don't think that
they act like that.
I just don't think that he would saunter in and see these Daleks killing everyone and be like,
oh, I want to join their side.
I speak for
humanity.
I speak for humanity, and I'm not scared at all of you killing me. It just felt
it
very,
was just very basic evil villain because he didn't really have a motive other than money. But a lot of times with Doctor Who villains, villains, they have a motive of why they're doing what they're doing,
and to where you can also relate.
I
feel that's what makes a good villain is you can see their side.
Yeah, you can see their side, but it was just a villain.
Yeah.
For example, the snowman. What was the snowman episode?
That's the Great Intelligence.
Yeah, the Great Intelligence. Yeah. So there was a human that was involved with working together with the Great Intelligence, and the Great Intelligence used this human because he was at his low point. He didn't have any friends. He was alone, and the Great Intelligence kind of played out to be his friend. Yeah. So you kind of understood where he came from of being a villain, because
I need to rewatch that. I don't remember this.
Because he was just very alone and felt isolated, and here it was when you feel so small because you're getting bullied or no one wants to be your friend, having a purpose, even if it's for the wrong thing, kind of fulfills you. Yeah. So you could see why he became a villain. Mm. Whereas in this episode, he's just I'm just a corporate billionaire and I want money.
Oh yeah, and I want to talk about the beginning because it's they didn't do it a lot throughout this episode. Okay, but I do have a gripe because when he's talking to the Prime Minister lady, when Mr. Robertson's talking to the Prime Minister lady, thanks for just saying the exposition, oh, if it ever gets out that I tipped you off about that secret alien technology being transported, I'd be in big trouble. And it's
bro, it reminded me so much of an episode that me and my little cousin would watch together of you know, like that you'd see on Disney Channel,
like on Bluey.
Yeah, on Bluey, where it's just like, I hope they just don't find out my great plan. I hope they don't find it out.
It would be really much a problem if it came out that all my plans.
That I'm trying to be greedy.
Yes, and I just like, okay, we have like about like 60% not great things, and then we have like 30% like good things to say about it. So it wasn't. I would rate this episode like a 6 out of 10.
I would rate it a 2. Okay.
It had some redeeming qualities. Like there were some scenes. I mean, Jack was there for sure.
There was some redeeming things where we're like, okay, this did feel, and we're gonna get to the good parts of what we did like about the episode. Yeah. Here's just like the beginning of how we're walking through of like how we felt about the episode. Mm-hmm. But stay with us because we do have some good things to say about the writing as well.
We're also going to go over, because we feel bad like hating. Like we're going to go over some IMDb reviews too. Mm-hmm. Because we think that we might need some backup.
Backup,
we don't want to
or like other perspectives
witches.
Too.
Yeah, other perspectives too. That's a good point. One thing I want to say is like, I feel like a lot of, I don't know if this is like, I think this is also a lot of like the Chibnall era, like as a writer, and like, you know, it's not all terrible. It's not, and I acknowledge that, but I feel like a lot of the parts, like for example, I'll give the example in the beginning. You know how the guy's driving the truck with the Dalek shell in it, mm-hmm. and the driver runs out of tea, so he stops to get some tea at like Fi's Teas or something, that like stand, and she actually like abducts him or whatever, like knocks him out, and then, but the problem I had with it was like, okay, as a character, number one, how did this woman know that he would run out of tea at this exact moment and then stop right here on the side of the road? It just feels like a lot of the scenes kind of were written to make sure that the story could happen, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like it was kind of like, oh, let me just give them this part, because it needs to happen, and they're not going to think about it. We're going to go to the next scene, and like nobody's going to worry about it. I worry about it. Like I'm paying attention because you said yesterday too how like Doctor Who used to answer all those like tiny little questions.
All the tiny little questions that we had, like in the adipose episode. Or like that whole adipose thing. It's like every single thing you're like, but what about this? And then it's like, oh, answer.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you. Like I needed the whole thing because I feel like the Doctor Who viewers are so attention to detail people.
Exactly.
Like that's why we love Doctor Who, because we're so attention to detail people.
I know.
And we also felt like in the beginning, like we even thought like the point of view of like the filming was very not Doctor Who-ish. It's different. And it's like what we were saying is we weren't hating on that season
hate it
as like a bad thing, but it wasn't Doctor Who. Like it didn't make me feel like it was Doctor Who.
What did it make you feel like?
Different. It made me feel like every superhero villain show,
like superhero movies and Star Wars, right?
Yeah, and Star Wars.
You said Star Wars. And so I remember I was reading one of the IMDb reviews. Somebody else said that too.
Yeah,
but it was like Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, and there's been
it's just very different.
But then the writer, because like I've watched Jodie's season. I have honestly, I didn't remember. I did. I've watched all of it.
All three, like all.
Yeah, I did. I genuinely didn't remember any of it. Like I would have to rewatch it over, but I do remember there was one guy that looked exactly like Chewbacca, almost like very similar to Chewbacca. Like it kind of almost like stole different.
Like it just
ideas.
You were talking about when the Dalek, like the first like new Dalek came in, it was like Venom. Like he was like Venom.
Yes.
And
we were talking about that. Yeah, you're right.
You did say that.
Like when the Dalek came out of, or like when he was gonna put
when he like attached to the
guy's Dalek back in the incinerator, and then it attached to the guy's back, and he's like, Good
puppet.
Oh yeah, good puppet. And it felt like Venom, you know, like how Venom like attaches to this guy and like comes out and like talks in this deep voice. But it also wasn't a Dalek voice, which really threw me off. Like it didn't have the characteristics of a Dalek, which we did later get explained because it is a hybrid, you know.
And then the Dalek, the real pure Daleks killed them.
Yeah, real pure.
So, you know, but watching it, you're like, that's not a Dalek. And you don't like.
And the Dalek wouldn't say that.
What I didn't understand, what I think they should have explained to us, was that these were like new Daleks. I feel like maybe they did explain it, but like
They didn't explain it till the end. They didn't explain it till the end.
Although we were like falling asleep by the end. I'm sorry, but we were. Like, it was just not just because we were watching it at like 8 p.m., but that's 8 p.m. It's not that late. We're not that old yet.
Not that old.
But we were genuinely. I was like falling asleep on the couch like this. Like,
we're like, I'm
really
like,
trying. I was really trying though. One good thing I will say, well, I would say this is more of a lukewarm comment.
Okay. Just a mid.
I liked seeing the Doctor like in prison, like waking up, saying hi to the same cameras every day, and like seeing the Weeping Angel.
Oh my god, I love to see the Ood.
The Ood, yeah,
the Ood,
for sure.
The rogue Ood,
yeah.
and the Weeping Angel.
Yeah.
It was cool to like see all the like monsters in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that kind of like, I was like, that's awesome.
Yes.
Like I really liked it.
And I feel like this is where the lukewarm part comes in. When Jack is introduced again after how many seasons? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very quick, and it's just like, oh, hey, here's Jack. And it's like, what?
It wasn't really like a backstory. Like, I think they kind of explained a little bit, but like, how did we know? How did he know that she was in trouble?
Exactly. Like that's my point, is they didn't spend much time on it, and they spent a lot of time on these pointless, like, emotional conversations that didn't really give me any like feels. It just was like, we should, remember each other, and it's like, yeah, but you don't have to talk about that. You can show it to me, if you want to, instead. And I'm really not trying to hate right now, because you do see how the Doctor not. Okay, this is another lukewarm comment. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all. When the Doctor is in prison for 10 months, right? Doctor comes back. Yaz was like freaked out looking for her, and like Graham and Ryan are, kind of like, whatever, get on with your life. But she comes back, and all they're concerned about is how she hasn't come to see them in 10 months, and we spend the time.
They don't even talk about her being in prison.
Exactly.
I'm like,
how did
hello?
Are you guys really her fam or her friends or whatever? Like, if you don't, like, how did it affect the Doctor being in prison for so long?
Didn't say like, oh, what happened to you? They were just like, hey, you left us. Like, what the hell?
Bro, like, what? Like, be more than two-dimensional, please.
Yeah.
It's not all about, like...
It was just like a lot of scenes cut together, but like without blending them. Yes. It's like you put makeup on, but then you didn't blend it. So it's like you look like a clown.
No, exactly.
Like airbrush that shit out. So you look good.
Yeah, exactly. One good thing. This is my start of my good things.
Yeah.
I actually really liked Jodie from this episode. I thought that she had a lot of moments because David Tennant's my favorite Doctor. I thought she had a lot of moments that actually reminded me of him. Like the way she would like get really excited and like talk really fast or whatever. Like, what did I say? Oh, the one line she said, "Don't bother trying to call security because I just blocked your phone lines." And she looks like so proud of herself, and like it's so cute. And I'm like, oh, look at her. Cute. Like, I love that. Like, that's the Doctor. Like, so happy, like so proud of herself. But like, I don't know. It just that is one of my highlights is Jodie. I feel like she does do a really good job, and it took me a minute because I'm a traditionalist, I suppose, and I can't let go of my man.
Can't let go of her man, David Tennant.
Can't let go. But yeah, how do you feel about Jodie? Like, do you think you like her better after this episode, or?
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm just a very honest person, so I'm gonna tell you that like I genuinely had a hard time seeing the Doctor as a woman. And
you grew up with the Doctor.
Yeah, and I grew up with the Doctor being a man, and I'm not trying to be like a woman hater at all, like anti-feminist.
She's really not.
Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
But it was really hard for me, like, to get used to it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just being completely honest. So it just, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm trying to, and I think I'm just like, just so used to seeing the Doctor as a man, and I know that could be like so misogynistic of me, but when you see a character like the same all the time, and it's like, you know, I'm sure a lot of you had the struggle with it because, like, I don't want to just be a hater because she's a woman. Like,
Yeah,
that's crazy because it
I
does
know.
make sense in the
Tiara's
storyline.
like, I know I'm towing a fine line here.
I know, but like, it's hard.
I know what you're
It's
saying.
hard.
I know what you're saying because
It's hard.
it's been
I was working on it.
yes, it's been a same kind of like energy, the
The
masculine
masculine
for
energy
you,
is
like
what I'm used to.
since you were a kid. So
Mhm.
it's like, you know, it's like I'm thinking of this like my dad had a goatee like all throughout my childhood growing up, and then we went snorkeling one time and he had to shave for that, and I started crying because I saw him and he didn't have his goatee anymore, and I was like, who is that? It took me like 10 minutes to stop crying.
I
So
mean, it's already hard in general getting used to a
yeah.
doctor changing bodies because, like, we have to, like, each time the doctor regenerates, like, just like how the companions have to get used to the doctor being new, and
Yeah,
they're like
yeah,
uncomfortable with him at
like
first
Clara.
being new.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know?
I remember this too, like with Matt Smith once, because David Tennant was my man. Once he regenerated into Matt Smith, I watched all of Matt Smith as the episodes came out, and then finally by the end, I was like, okay, Matt Smith's a good doctor.
Yeah.
And then he regenerates, and I was like, oh,
I started to like
I
him.
started to like him. So maybe you have to rewatch like all the episodes or something.
I know.
Maybe
It's
that's
just
what-
like I just really have to sit with it, and it
Mhm.
makes it harder with her being a girl because the writer was new. So it's like there was so much difference that it was hard for me to sit with it because
It
it's
was
like
a lot.
there's a woman.
3 people
She's
in the
also
TARDIS.
like, not saying she's a little bit more emotional, but she is more in tune with her feelings and
Mm.
talk about it. Like
Mhm.
we saw in this episode, like she's sitting down and talking about how things make her feel. And we don't really get a lot of that with the doctor. The doctor's very kind of like closed off.
Yeah. I mean,
like in a lot of the time. So
Mm.
it's like I'm getting like a lot of like openness, and I have new writing and it's different. So it's like
a lot of different makes it
yeah,
hard.
I think it would have
I
been
get what you
different
mean.
if the writing was similar and the
Mhm.
shooting of it was similar and we had a woman
Mhm.
doctor. I would have been like better to like sit
Yeah.
with it. But then the fact that everything was just like so new to me,
Mhm.
it was just really hard for me to sit with it being like a woman.
And I think I get what you're saying, because I think like, you know, it is her fam or whatever. Like these are the people that are important to her, but I think talking about her feelings like so deeply about like this one quote
like
of,
I miss
if
you.
I'm
like,
not who I thought
you.
I was, who am I? And I think it would just make more sense to me if she were saying that to somebody like Sarah Jane. You know what I mean? Like somebody she's known so long to be able to like
open up like
be
that,
comfortable like that. Because in the doctor's lifetime, it's just like the span of her life, I just don't feel like these companions have been around long enough for her to just be like
open up
who
about
am
everything.
I? You know,
Yeah,
I don't
having
know.
an identity crisis.
And that, you know, maybe that's just character growth. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but I don't know. That's it, just me personally. I'm like, I wouldn't, if you're taking the fraction of the time that these people have spent with the doctor versus the amount of time that some other people have spent with the doctor, it's like, I personally, if I were in those shoes, I would trust those other people more. And be able to open up to those people way more when, you know.
Because they've seen all of me, you know, they've seen different versions of me. So it's like, so then you could be like, am I the same person?
Yeah.
Like as I was like in previous like generations.
And we might not have seen it, but like, you know, like River, like the doctor had a hard time even opening up to his wife, like River. And then so I'm just like, okay, well, I do like Jodie. I do. And I think Jack really like stole the show. I really like Jack.
Jack did good. Jack, like honestly, like seeing Jack, and I think they like threw Jack in there, you know, just like bring back home because it was kind of a little bit different.
I just feel like he wasn't like a static character. Like I feel like he grew since the last time we saw him, and it was kind of sad like seeing him like older
and
because
mature.
I was
my god,
I was like, how long has it been? I'm really sad, but it makes you feel. And like, you remember that conversation he had with Yaz about like the doctor's nature?
We love that.
Like he was explaining the doctor's nature to Yaz and how the doctor acts without consequence, and like
this was the best part.
Leave you behind.
This was the best part, I think, of the whole episode.
I agree. Yeah, I think that there was a lot to unpack in this. Like like everyone has this feeling that they're special,
when they're with the doctor.
Yeah, and you are special when you are with the doctor, but when you're not, then you're pretty much just like everybody else. And you can't blame the doctor for that. And I think you said something like this, like after the Runaway Bride, after Donna, first episode with Donna, the Christmas special, she was looking for those like mysterious things that are happening.
Like they have an identity crisis. They're like, if I'm not with the doctor, like who am I? Like I have such like a high importance when I'm with the doctor. I'm saving the world, and it's like then you go back to being a normal person,
and it's like what?
And it's just like, oh, I'm supposed to like work at Starbucks now. Like what?
I know. That's why I really liked like Clara or Bill's setup, like with the doctor, where like you go live your life and then the doctor comes, picks you up for an adventure or something. I feel like that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I could like live like
in the TARDIS, like and like go nonstop.
Yeah. No, exactly. But yeah, Jack was really good in this episode. But
I think that was a good conversation to like hear, because you see so many of the companions like get lost within themselves when they're not with the doctor.
And I mean, you see Yaz like,
and they all pretty much fall in love with him, and like even if not even in a like a friendship way, but a family way.
I mean, who wouldn't?
And the doctor like disappears for months, and you're like, did you forget about me? Do you still care about me? Am I just another one of your companions?
Yeah,
you know,
seriously. And like when you're with the doctor, she makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world. And then it's like in reality, you know, she left for however many months, whatever.
And like is doing your whole thing, you know, like at some point, like Peter Capaldi was gone for like, I don't even know, like 1 billion years trying to escape out of that one prison to see Clara.
Yeah, that was, oh my God, I love Heaven Sent.
I love Heaven Sent too.
And I don't know if the time, like, I think the time like went back or something, because he was like trapped in the time dial, so I don't think the years like actually counted or something.
They didn't like, but
yeah, you're totally right. Like I have a few more good things to say. We saw the swearness gun again.
Oh, the squareness gun.
Let's go, squareness gun.
Jack's face when he takes out the squareness gun, he's like, guys.
Oh yeah, and then who said it? Was it Yaz? Yaz was like, you really need a lot of like praise, don't you?
And it's so true.
So relatable.
So relatable.
Yeah. By the way, leave a comment.
Leave a comment, praise, like. But it just like it made me feel like at home with Jack, because he is like, every time you see Jack, he's trying to impress somebody, flirt with somebody.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And like he flirts with Yaz a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I liked. Let me list them off for you. I liked the shot of the TARDIS appearing on the bridge while the Daleks descended. That was really cool. Like I said, they do some good things. Like, you know, there's some cool camera shots, and even if we might not like the point of view sometimes, it's like, you know, that felt very Doctor Who, like where you saw them like coming in, and then the TARDIS is appearing on the bridge. Like, oh, it was really cool.
The Dalek scene, I think when they go back to like their OG Dalek things, I felt like that felt very Doctor Who.
Felt like coming home.
Yeah, those were like the original Daleks. They like, it made me
feel. We were so angry about the new Dalek, and they looked cool.
They looked cool. I was like, what are those? What are those? They didn't sound like the Daleks, so it was just like weird to us.
It was really hard.
But I get they're hybrids, so it's like
fine. We found out at the end. But for so long we were mad.
Yeah, it's so long we're like, that is
and why'd you make me be mad for like
40
minutes?
And then at the end they're like, oh, they have to like kill them because they're not pure Daleks, they're hybrids. Even though I don't know how they're hybrid humans, because he just cloned DNA, and when you clone DNA, they don't turn hybridly into humans.
I just wish, I'm sure there was an explanation, but like I just didn't. I must have missed it. I don't know. I must have missed it.
I don't know how we got like cross-hybrid human Daleks.
They should have spent more time on some things and less time on other things.
It would have been cool in this episode, since they were cross-hybrid human, like Daleks, if like the Daleks somehow had like some human emotion, and it was like hard to kill them because they were like sad or like mercy, you know what I mean? Because they have like some kind of change. Because they have somewhat of human emotions.
Yeah, because we were talking about this with the new Dalek when he attached them to the guy's back or whatever. Also, I don't know how he used the person to talk, but anyway, we were talking about how the Dalek felt pleasure because he was like good puppet,
Yeah,
or whatever, you know. So that was new, but like I feel like they definitely
could
could have
have
tapped into
could
that
have
more.
dived into the cross
You're right.
humid Dalek
You're
kind
right.
of like
Because
collab.
do you remember the episode with the pigs and they were building the Empire State Building?
Mhm.
Dalek Sec, I think, with
Yeah.
the guy with the one eye, and he was a half human, half Dalek hybrid, and they really explored that idea. And I'm like, so
Yeah.
if we're doing the same thing again in Revolution of the Daleks, we're just borrowing ideas from other episodes. We could borrow that one too.
Yeah.
We could borrow that one.
Like I want to know. It's like you have
It's
all
cool.
these like things, but you don't like expand upon them.
Yeah.
And that's what we love about Doctor Who, that we expand on our little nerdy
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah.
Like we want the expansion pack.
Yeah, and I know that you know, the Doctor Who does this a lot where they're like, oh, these monsters, like I've never seen these monsters before. But I took a little bit of like, I was kind of like thrown for a loop because I was like, wait, we're rolling out these like security drones nationwide and nobody remembers what the Daleks look like? Like nobody in Britain, in England, or
at
whatever.
the same time, we see that a lot of the time where like no one remembers like a giant like boat crashing into like London.
That's true.
Like every single time there's an alien, nobody like knows, because even Wilfred is like the aliens, and everybody's like, what aliens? And Wilfred knows, but like I don't know how in the Doctor Who universe everybody somehow forgets. But that is a common thing in the Doctor Who universe that everybody just forgets about.
Well, I feel like a lot of like, if it were like in reality, you know, like we have Area 52. Is that
Area 51?
Area 51, sorry, in Nevada or whatever. And you know, there have been all these stories about like aliens and alien technology, and like still, you know, it's not really common for people to believe in that kind of stuff. And I think in the past, Doctor Who has been like that, but like it just feels like in this episode it was written and characters were made to do things that went along with the story, that made the story work, instead of like, oh, how would people actually like react to this? Like I don't know if it were me, like I feel like if these giant scary looking security drones or whatever were to be distributed all throughout an entire country, I feel like people would take issue with it. People would be like, no, you're not putting that like everywhere. And it would take, you know, I mean, it did take a year, but I don't know. I'm trying not to be a hater. Really, it's hard out here. Yeah, okay, another good thing.
I like how you say a good thing and it somehow wounds up being bad. This is like a good thing. But then also there's that one
I told
time.
You there's some lukewarm in here. There's some lukewarm. I like the ending where it folded in on itself, like the spare TARDIS or whatever.
And that's how they killed the rest of the Daleks.
Yeah, like that was kind of fun. And also at the end, like you got to see really well. And I think this was due to the fact that Jodie was like, I don't know, in my opinion, she's a really good actress. You got to see the Doctor's fear of abandonment really well. Like when Graham and Ryan are leaving and she's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Like, oh yeah, go live
It's
your
just
life.
funny that the Doctor has a fear of abandonment if you think about how many times the Doctor has abandoned people.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
And so it's like, you having a fear of abandonment?
Girl, what do you mean?
That's rich. That's real. That's real rich.
Hypocrite.
Like, okay.
Yeah. No, you're so right. Like, yeah. But it's you know, it's something complex to think about, and that's really fun, like seeing the Doctor's character or whatever. And you know, I guess it was fine. You know, it ended with Ryan and Graham, because their grandson and grandfather, step grandfather,
and then the grandma just appearing out of thin air,
teaching Ryan how to ride the bike, which is how Ryan started learning how to ride the bike. But this time he loves his grandpa instead. Yeah. So and cute. I'm like, that's cute, but also I'm like, he never took time to learn how to ride a bike. Like, why are we ending it on the same way that we opened? I mean, I don't know. How
It's
did
like
you
a
feel?
full circle
It is
moment.
full circle.
You know what I mean?
For some reason, I can't pinpoint why it didn't really work for me.
Oh.
I was just, maybe it was because I was falling asleep, and I was just like,
You're like, I don't get it anymore.
I'm like, okay, bye. See y'all later.
You're like, deuces.
But yeah, I mean, do you have any? What was your favorite part of this episode?
It was the whole the whole relationship with Jack and Yaz talking. One, because I love Jack,
That was
and
my favorite part too.
just to see like it really did like I feel like touch on how companions feel. So I like the deeper dive into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it felt like a spin-off to Doctor Who more than Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, so maybe we just need to watch more episodes. Maybe we're being haters, you know. You can hate on us.
I mean, we all have different opinions. If you have your opinion, we're like not like hating on you for like liking it because like at the same time, Alyssa and I aren't a fan of superhero movies, so
that's true.
And it gave very superhero movie-ish vibes. So it's like if you are interested, like if you like Marvel and like all those other like shows,
I get you. I see you.
I see like how you would. I can see how you'd like it. No, I see like how like it could not be terrible writing. Like I feel like the writer would be great for writing Marvel movies and superhero movies.
And
but like
some superhero movies are really good. Like some of them I enjoy, but a lot of them just feel very formulaic.
A lot of the themes are very like the same. It's almost like a blueprint of how to make a movie.
Here's the middle, here's the end.
Yeah.
You're going to make $1 million. Or billions of dollars, whatever.
Yeah, insert villain.
Insert villain here.
Insert villain here.
No, exactly. I mean, you know, and superhero movies can be good, you know. I really liked the first Iron Man. I think I really liked them when they first started coming out, and then they were just like the
replay of the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
It's like, and then we save the day, and then it's all happy, and we're all good, and save the universe.
Yeah,
but
yada yada.
They don't do it like Doctor Who, or you know, at least Doctor Who used to do it. How I feel.
But now we're back with, you know, Nashuti and writer now.
I'm excited for
RTD.
Yeah, I'm excited for Nashuti because of this.
Yeah, we're really reverting back. The filming style is, I feel like, reverting back to the same. Also, we had a comment on the music that was in this episode. I wanted to talk about it because I feel like scoring is so important to what makes a show a show.
Yeah,
like the background noises. It was very like superhero, like when something bad's about to happen, you hear the you know, the like
What was that one you commented on? It was like they opened the truck and then it was like wow.
It was just
it just felt very out of place.
It just felt so. I didn't like the scoring of this really either because I feel like at a lot of times, and like it felt like a scary movie, you know, it's like, okay, you knew like, oh, something bad's gonna happen, a villain is approaching, like very, you know, like very common-esque of superhero movies or of like movies in general or scary movies in general. Whereas Doctor Who, you don't know the background or the storyline of the villain, so they don't have the deep villain noises of like, oh, here's a scary part coming. You know, like they don't really have that a lot in Doctor Who because it's more like a mystery. Like you don't know what their intentions are. Not all the villains are bad, you know. So it was just like I didn't like how they like played their whole audio, like the whole.
I don't know, and we might just be feeling nostalgic, but like it's just a lot of change, and I just think that, you know, everything we've talked about, how it feels like superhero movies, how it feels like Star Wars, how it feels like this and this and that, and then it's just like it doesn't feel like it just feels like pulling different things and then putting it together, like pulling things that are popular and putting it together instead of, you know, there's this like, I'm just thinking of the episode, I think it's called 42, where they're stuck in a spaceship. And I just remember after rewatching it, I really, really liked the sound effects and like the music they used in it. Like it was so suspenseful. And like I was on the edge of my seat and I was like, dang, more people should appreciate 42. Like it's a good episode. And yes, it was very similar to Midnight. Like the themes were very similar, but the story was different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just really liked it. Like there's this whole chase scene, or whatever, where they're running and trying to get these things done before they crash into the sun. And it just felt like you were there, like you were in it. And then with this, like you were talking about, like it's very POV, like this is what's happening to these people. Like look at this. But like if you, I don't know, I feel like in the old episodes, like you could kind of be in it. Like
you could
like
piece.
there.
Yeah, you felt like it just like flowed. Whereas here was like here, over here, over here, and this is what these people are doing. It's like okay, it didn't like flow into one, and like you have those amazing Doctor Who episodes where it's shot the same place the whole entire time, you know, and we're not going back and forth in it
like midnight.
Yeah,
like midnight. I love midnight just because it is that one location thing, and you feel like you're a passenger on the tram. Like it's so intense, and it's so
here
good.
You didn't really feel part of the storyline. You felt like you were watching the show.
You're watching this happen.
You didn't feel in it.
It's fine. That's fine if you want to do it like that, like superhero movies.
Yeah,
that's how it feels. So I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to go over IMDb reviews and kind of talk about them because maybe there's a perspective that we have that's different and we want to validate everybody's opinions even if they're not our own.
Yeah.
So then we're going to read some IMDb reviews and then talk about it and what our opinions are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so number one featured review, 5 out of 10. Having Captain Jack back is the best part is the title. So, this idiot prime minister is okay with security drones that are obviously built from Daleks. Is this Doctor Who from an alternate reality where, the third Doctor didn't avert World War III by stopping the Daleks, where UNIT never fights them? I feel bad for Jodie Whittaker, whose term as the Doctor has been the worst written, even worse than Capaldi's. Oh, I love Capaldi.
I liked Capaldi.
Who at least had a few decent episodes. Please fire Chibnall, please.
Okay, this is 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Okay. This new year, we have the return of Doctor Who, and hand in hand, the return of Captain Jack Harness. And we are met with mixed results, shall we say? The dialogue is still pretty cringe. Very...
Yeah.
So true.
He said that was so funny.
There's cool stuff with the Daleks, but for an episode called Revolution of the Daleks, they are surprisingly absent. It's a mostly character-focused episode, and that's fine.
It wasn't very Christmassy. It was a Christmas special, wasn't it?
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I don't know.
See? You don't even know.
We also get some cameos from the Weeping Angels, Ood, Sycorax, and the Silence, which was nice, which we said.
It was nice.
Jack was brilliant, and I honestly want Torchwood back. Yeah, shout out Torchwood.
You have to watch Torchwood.
I really do. We also have to say goodbye to Ryan and Graham, and it's handled about as well as he could be. It doesn't feel like it comes out of nowhere. It feels right, and it does. I will agree with that. Yeah. The guy from the Spider episode is just about as annoying as he was there.
Mr. Robertson.
And they tease that we'll see him again at the end, which rubs me up the wrong way. Ultimately, not a bad time. But not overwhelmingly amazingly either.
I would agree with
They said it's enjoyable, and that's fine.
That's fine.
It was just such trying to be positive. And this is a commenter that gave it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. It's decent special. That's what I said. Okay. So this is the person who said Star Wars.
Okay, read this one.
Oh, maybe it's just comparing it to Star Wars, like, in writing quality. 4 out of 10. The Doctor's writers need the Mandalorian treatment. Doctor Who is stuck with god-awful writers right now, trying way too hard for emotions to be felt between characters coming and going. Filming a boring, quick scene with sad music is not how you do it. The entire episode focused way too much on the wrong things. That's what I said. And ramming too many stupid emotional elements in that it's just lost its way. It's Doctor Who, not Days of Our Lives. Right now.
That's so good. Yeah. That's so good.
77 people found this helpful. Right now, the Doctor's writers are that of Star Wars 7, 8, and 9. Get rid of them and find its Mandalorian writers, so all hope is not completely lost for the future of Doctor Who.
2 out of 10.
Long. That's so long.
The Chernobyl era of Doctor Who is adamantly opposed to fun, not only in the show's tone. That is very true.
Yeah.
It's not very fun. They have very harsh...
It used to be so jokey.
Jokey.
Jokes that didn't have to get thrown in there, but they were thrown in there.
Yeah,
to,
you have
whimsical.
A lot of topics that are very, hard to go, but instead of kind of making it lightheartedly, but while still brushing on the topic of like social injustice. But while here, it's just like very like hard.
Here's a scene.
It's just like it's hard. You're like, damn, I'm sad, bro. I'm sad.
I want my joke. Because it has been done before. You can achieve dual purposes, and we've talked about this before. Like having a scene that achieves
it doesn't
different
feel
purposes.
so heavy. You know, like when you have a friend that's talking to you and they're ranting, and you just like feel drained at the end of it, and you're just like, God, just shut up.
You talking about?
Stop.
I never talk about my feelings.
No, we don't talk about our feelings.
We're the doctors. We just don't do that.
So like here, like the episodes feel like you're just talking about like really hard stuff, and you're just like, I get it, Mom. Like I'm not gonna do that again.
Emotion.
You know? So like this is so true.
Yeah.
Like not only in the show's tone, but its extreme refusal to give us a straight Christmas special.
Christmassy.
Gone are the days of settling in to watch the Doctor's newest adventure after Christmas lunch. Revolution of the Daleks is so anti-holiday. There's only the brief mention of it in the new year.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, we like the Christmassy Christmas specials. Yeah. It doesn't have to be about Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, just because we're woke doesn't mean we have to be anti-everything. Like, we can't have fun anymore.
We can't have fun.
Like, it's like, everybody's, like, it's like, this is, like, the whole, like, sensitivity writing where it's like, you can't have fun. You need to learn about injustice and be sad about it. And it's like, you can't have both. Like, where we, like, joke around sometimes instead of just crying.
Can we, like, laugh a little bit?
Just a little bit. So I don't go to bed depressed.
I think, do you remember when we were watching the episode? Jack said something and I went like, and I was like,
she's like, is that the first time I've laughed this whole episode?
And it was like 3/4 of the way through.
I actually really like this review. The lack of fun continues as we get reacquainted with the fam. Reacquainted. All of whom shuffle through this episode as if suffering from severe post-holiday depression. Even though the Doctor is rescued from her space prison, the moods don't improve. They keep guilting the Doctor about her absence, rather than wondering whether the decades in Judon present has had any effect on her. Which is so true. Yeah. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
13 era is so odd. We spent an enormous amount of time with her companions, but we never get to know them. Nearly all of their countless conversations have been about the same 3 topics: not giving up, not letting the Doctor down, and how they're family now. We're family now.
Yay!
Character growth has been so stagnant that when Ryan announces his decision not to accompany the Doctor anymore and states that he's found his purpose on Earth, the most sensible question is, what is that exactly?
I guess
bro, I love
be
this.
A lad.
I love this person.
He just wants to be a lad.
I love this person. All Ryan needed was one more line indicating that he was, I don't know, going to join the police force or look into UNIT. That's cool. That was a good thing.
Everyone in the Shooties season
or pursue a profession.
UNIT.
And they're like, anything in all caps. Instead, the episode ends with him still having difficulty riding a bike, which is exactly where the character started.
Yes, that's what I say. I was like, he didn't, like, I don't know, was he traveling with the Doctor, like, consistently? In these 10 months that the Doctor was gone, he never...
They're not like, they had 10 months to move on with their lives.
10 months to ride a bike.
Yeah. Why was it at the end that they threw in that they have a good relationship?
That's why I'm like...
When weren't they living together?
They were supposed... Yes, their whole thing was, like, they weren't really growing. He wasn't seeing Graham as his grandfather in the first episode, and then by the end of the first episode he kind of does see that, and sure, yes, by the end of the season, then we learn how to ride a bike together, and it's different, and then Grandma's ghost appears and whatever. But I think that the reason I didn't like it was because yes, it comes full circle, it's a good idea, but it's just like whatever. It's like, okay, well, he's just riding the bike. Can we not get like some huge, like, you're my grandfather and I know it now? I don't know. Like, I feel like we should have done this before and not just like, I don't know. Or we could show him like riding off on a bike, Graham's riding a bike and he's riding a bike and they're riding together.
Riding together.
That would be cute.
Yeah, that would be cute.
We should have done that.
They said, one tangible note to close. I've read a lot of the other 13 user comments, and I've noticed a thread among a lot of positive reviews. Many of them start with some variation of, don't listen to the trolls. They're all men who just hate the idea of a female doctor.
Man.
Note to anyone who writes this way, this is an ad hominem attack.
Ad hominem?
Yeah. Not valid criticism, and it will stop people from taking your reviews seriously.
That's a fallacy, like a logical fallacy.
Yeah, or it's like just saying like, oh, you don't like it because you're misogynist.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like, that's not what I'm saying, you know?
Even though that's literally what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like the people.
I know, I was like, man. They're just men who hate women.
I'm a woman, I don't like women. I'm just kidding. I do love women.
She does.
I'm a feminist too, guys.
Yeah, I know. And like, so am I. It's
women's
just like
rights, guys.
things are just the way that they are sometimes.
Women's right to not be the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I told you guys I'd be okay with it if the writing was better.
Smart enough.
It was just different. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Not okay.
Exactly. And so I think this was for a Jody episode. I know. I don't even know what adjective to use, honestly. This was an episode. This was indeed an episode of Doctor Who. So, thanks for watching today. Thanks for watching our episode.
Okay, what we want from you guys in the comments. Okay, if you have a different perspective, why did you like the Jody era? Like,
Tell us why.
Genuinely, like, I'm not like hating at all, like, on your reasons.
She likes to be convinced. She likes to have her mind changed.
I love devil's advocates. Like, I literally only date guys who are the devil's advocate of me that are so like
terrible.
They're not terrible. Like, I like not the fighting, but I like when you have a different perspective because it makes me think. Like, I do. Like, I like that.
It shows me
like,
you're
I don't want
not
all
a
of
yes
you
man.
to like agree with me. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So
if you do agree, though, like
if you do agree, though,
I like that too.
I like that too.
I like that better sometimes.
But I genuinely like need to know like your guys' perspective because if you genuinely feel like it's good, like I'm like, okay, what are the points that we're missing that we didn't see? Yeah. Because like even in in the reviews, like I'm like, no, I agree with that. Like I agree with that. Like
you're right.
But it's the whole thing like, oh, you're wrong. You're like misogynist. Okay. No, like
tell me why.
Yeah, tell me why you like
think
it.
I'm wrong. Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, just give me an explanation.
Yeah,
you can't just like say
I don't agree with that. Changed. I want my mind to be changed.
Mm-hmm. I do. Me too.
I want a good argument for me to go like, oh, and then look at episodes differently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I want to enjoy Doctor Who.
Yeah,
that's what I want more than anything.
Like, my favorite thing in high school was, like, Socratic seminars where we're all in a circle and we're all, like, going back and forth. Yeah. And the thing about Socratic seminars is you're not there to argue. You're there to listen. Yeah. You're there to listen to what the other person says.
So you can prove them wrong.
Exactly. You have to repeat. And also in our Socratic seminars, if someone makes you change your mind, you move to the other side. Which I think is so respectful because at the same, like... And I think not that it was, like, required in class, but they encouraged you to, like, move to the other side if you genuinely, like, validated, like, and agreed with their point.
Because some people can make really good points and, like, you know, and we don't think that we're right 1,000,000% of the time. Like, we genuinely do not.
I remember my favorite part of school was when somebody changed my mind in a Socratic seminar, and I got up and I moved across.
I was like, damn, that's hot.
And I was like...
What, not you?
No, it was a girl who like said a point and I was like that was a really good point and I got up, I got my ass up, humbled myself, changed my side, my point of view. Yeah. And I was like, that was a really good point.
Yeah, you're right. I'm like,
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, I remember like I was having a Socratic seminar or something and this was like the first time I ever spoke up in school, by the way. And I was very passionate about this topic. I think it was like construction. I was in like 7th grade, construction. And then I was like, oh, they're always doing construction on these like same roads or whatever. And then one of the guys said like, oh, it's because that road is like a main road. Like it's very busy. It's going to get destroyed. Roads have to be maintained. And I was like, you're right. But I also never spoke up in class ever again. So, you know, take with that what you will. But like,
you're like, you don't.
It's like, oh, damn, I'm wrong. But I learned and I got better.
Yeah.
So I was
what
just a
we're
very shy
saying
child.
is because like we had like some commenters were like, "Oh, I don't want to offend you by my comment. You're not going to offend us." Like we love
maybe
a good
at first
we love a
we'll be
good
like,
hot argument. Like it gets us going.
I know.
What
I'm not good at arguing though, because genuinely I always see other people's sides.
Yeah.
I'm like,
like I
get where you're coming from,
So go off.
Leave a comment.
Go off.
Leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on TikTok at timey.wimey.talks. And
we'll see you next time.
We'll see you in the next one. We gotta go clone some Daleks.
Yeah.
We gotta go make some Dalek human hybrids.
Yep.
Very important. Very important. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
See you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.